Ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be back. This gathering matters more than ever because democracy no longer is the global norm. 6 years ago, democracy was overtaken by autocracy for the first time in 20 years. Today, liberal democracy is the least common model in the world. 72% of people live in autocracies, the highest proportion since 1978. For some time, I have been reflecting on this topic. I want to share 4 key lessons with you today through the lens of my current job. Lesson number 1. Democracy is not an instant gratification. Bold choices build democracy up. I often think about democracy and autocracy as a relay race. The autocrat jumps the gun, getting ahead early while the Democrats are still deciding who does what, which foot we start, which tempo we take, how we go. But Democrats, when they eventually move forward, can hand over the baton to fresh legs. Every team member contributes their skills and expertise. They cheer each other on. As the saying goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. That's democracy in a nutshell. Hard work that pays off. When the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, and the Baltic countries built democracy from scratch, guided only by the memory of what the forebears had created. They rooted out corruption, built strong institutions, and established robust legal systems. This required a massive turnaround, also from the mindset of people. I was recently in the Western Balkans, where countries face many of the same challenges and choices that Baltics made in their reforms to join the European Union. The EU membership is a pathway to consolidating democracy, and the rewards don't come overnight. Yet, democracy creates long-term prosperity, protects individual rights, guarantees freedom, and leads to peace. Lesson number 2. Democracies need hard defense. Treaties alone never guarantee peace. Georgia learned this in 2008. Ukraine learned this in 2014 with the annexation of Crimea, and now through 3 years of full-scale invasion of Russia. We have the answer to the question of how to stop Russia's historical cycle of aggression against democracies in our hands. Strength is the answer. Strength deters aggressors. Weakness invites them in. The strongest security guarantee is a strong Ukraine. Kiev cannot accept another Budapest memorandum. Words alone are never enough as a security guarantee. That is why the European Union and its member states are the biggest supporters of Ukraine's military, and why robust security guarantees must be part of any peace agreement of Ukraine. And why last Friday I also discussed with the European Union foreign ministers how to provide security guarantees. Because the war will end. And once it ends, it must end for good. To achieve that, we also need to increase pressure on Russia and strengthen Ukraine on the battlefield today. Russia has asked for sanctions relief. We know that the sanctions are working. They wouldn't be asking it otherwise. Last week, we proposed the 17th package of sanctions. We also set a 2027 deadline to sever energy ties with Russia. Europeans will deprive them of the means to hold us hostage over energy ever again. And we've just made available €1 billion for Ukraine's defense industry to support Ukrainian companies and secure additional military aid. Peace has never been free. The peace dividend is actually a myth. We must invest in defense during peacetime to protect peace, our values, our democracy. And this is why the European Union is pulling every financial lever to strengthen European defence. With the new Rearm Europe plan, we will be able to mobilise up to €800 billion. When the EU acts together, we have a huge amount of strength. It is time we transfer our economic might also to military power. Lesson number 3. Our adversaries are always ready to exploit the divisions in our democracies. Democracies run on disagreements. As George Orwell wrote, if liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear. In democracy, we base our disagreements on facts, but we are right back in the age of untruth. Fact-checking has fallen out of fashion. We form opinions and debate based on data. Policymakers take decisions based on data. And fact-checkers provide data. Wherever there is a massive public communication, including social media, we need fact-checkers. Otherwise, we only leave the door wide open to exploitation. A second major problem is that foreign actors deliberately muddy the waters to exploit the divisions. It's a hybrid warfare tactic that often accompanies hot war. And this is Russia's playbook. But not only Russia, but China, Iran, as well as others, operate massive military campaigns specifically to manipulate information spaces in democracies worldwide. Last year alone, more than 90 countries were targets of attacks, from disinformation fueling farmers' protests in Germany to interference in presidential elections in Romania and Moldova. The evidence of foreign interference is there for all to see. The EU is fighting back by exposing these operations and sanctioning perpetrators, but we must all do more. This morning I met young people here who were part of the 2025 Alliance of Democracies Fellowship, and they are doing amazing things here. I really encourage you to meet them, like Open Minds, for example. They merge artificial and human intelligence to detect and help governments to fight interference. One of democracy's greatest privileges is participation in election and choosing who we want to govern us based on data. If we truly want to defend our democratic space, we must fight the foreign interference. Lesson number 4. It's never too late to protect democracies or rebuild it. The role of independent media for democracy cannot be overstated. Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, is a shining example. For countries under autocracies, it has long been the light in the dark. Another of the fellows I met this morning runs a company whose work helps to public check the accuracy what we read in the media. And this, media literacy, is equally important. One of my objectives for the next long-term European Union budget is to ensure that the EU remains a reliable partner to protect free media and quality press globally. And this is especially important when Russia and China buy up media, including in Africa, only to control the narrative. If you pull funding for independent media, you only help those who want to destroy democracy. And one cannot exist without the other. It is also deeply troubling that some countries are now labeling individuals and organizations who receive foreign funding as acting on behalf of foreign interests. The result is simply shrinking civic space and therefore shrinking possibility for democracy to thrive. Despite rising autocracy, democratic openings still persist. Opposition leader in Zambia won presidential elections in 2021. Last year, Sri Lankans voted out an autocratic leader. Protest toppled the dictatorship in Bangladesh. The fall of the Assad regime in Syria offers Syrians to choose to rebuild a country where every voice counts. We must seize these openings. Before Moldova's elections, the EU worked with digital platforms, including TikTok, to combat disinformation and help Moldova enact legislation to regulate its digital space. And I want us to continue this work. Even from the ashes of war, democracy can rise again. And for this, accountability is the key. Last week in Lviv, we formally established a special tribunal for the crimes against aggression in Ukraine. Accountability is how societies collectively grieve and move forward after unimaginable horror. This was true after Nuremberg. It will be also true for Ukraine. While others withdraw from responsibilities to uphold international law, the European Union never will. So let me sum up here. We must fight for democracy. We cannot take it for granted. Democracy is never a given. It is always a choice. We have to choose it every day. We have to be active citizens in our democracies. Democracies have to defend themselves with hard power, because if we don't, there are always others who will exploit our weaknesses. We see the autocrats cutting course, disabling opponents, and removing them altogether. It is up to us, to democracies, to defend the space and keep the race fair. And opportunities for progress will always exist. Because the will for freedom, choice, and democracy is innate part of who we are as human beings. Now more than ever, democracies must believe in their strength, defend themselves with hard power, and hold on to the spirit of victory. Thank you.